Vänner, då är vi framme vid nästa programpunkt som är Andreas Brännlund. Konstnär och som jag har stött på i en del roliga grejer. Jag tänkte säga. Vi har gjort ett riktigt skönt experiment tillsammans.
Ja.
Som du säkert kommer att berätta om.
Absolut.
Scenen är din, varsågod.
Tack. Hej. Ja, jag ska prata om lite olika saker. I'm going to talk in English and in Swedish. I'm going to change so everyone understands a little bit of it. So this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm an artist and I work with theater a little bit, but I work almost with visual art and communication and things like that. So can we take down the lights a little maybe? I'm going to talk about the project called Online, and also about another project which is going called North Cultitude, and it's going on the latitude 62, 63 and around the world. I'm also going to talk about how to connect tag tool, and I'm going to show you what that is, and a visual cluster in the middle of Sweden, and Café Pantopia, which is an interesting project, connected, and an art arena in latitude 63, and so on. So, yeah, you're going to see what I'm talking about. But this is I will not talk that very much, and you can ask me questions during my speech. This is okay with me, right? So first, I'm just looking into this fiber thing, because before I was doing different kind of exhibitions about climate change and things like that, and then we were into fibers, and this is what you can do with fibers. You know, this is if you can change the color with just putting your hand on the fiber and things like that, and you can make art, and you can make fiber taking sun energy and things like that. And in Borås in Sweden, they are doing many interesting experiments of this, and this is in a Falun hospital. With you had fiber inside of glass sculptures, which is changing all the time, and you can always use this as normally textiles. But I'm interested in this area because of the communication and trying to make presence in distance like that. So the first project, I moved up from Uppsala up to the middle of Sweden, Härnösand. I think it was 9 years ago, and I started a project to connect Sundsvall, Östersund, Trondheim from coast to coast and see what we can do. If we could put screens in the squares, so people can go and see in Härnösand and in Sundsvall and see how the weather is in Trondheim or in Östersund and communicate through the screen. This is 2007. So that was my idea. This project didn't work out very well because I didn't get all the money, but there was so much interesting here. So I was in the national news and everything. But maybe I was a little bit early in the ideas though. After that, a few years ago, we started a big project called North Cultitude, which is actually the latitude 62 and 63, and this is this spot. And I live here and here at the same. I have my house here and I have an apartment there, and I work there. So I move all time back and forward. And I'm trying to connect it in all my art projects and everything. I try to connect on this level, in this latitude. And the idea with the North Cultitude is to connect all culture workers and creative people around the world in this latitude, which is very high. We are very high up on Earth. Maybe we don't think about that, but we are really, really high up, especially here in Scandinavia, Faroe Island and Iceland. This is here the people live. If you go to Siberia and Canada, it's not so much people there. And this is actually how it looks. So high up are we on Earth. So for me, this is a very interesting situation. What can we do in this circle? What artists do we have here? What is going on in the culture? And how should we connect it? And how should we show the world? Actually, we are living up here. People don't think so, but we do. And and so that's why all this connection by over distance and presence and things is very, very important for this project. We have done this project for 2 years with fundings from the EU, and we have tried different kind of to connect people. This is one example we make with pitch. We call it artist pitch, which is a small, if you know Pecha system, you know Pecha? Yeah. This is a smaller, shorter Pecha. It's only 5 minutes. You have 20 seconds in 15 images. And you have to talk to the people, the audience, but you also connect it to the other country, to Norway. And they also have an audience there, sitting and listen to your project in these 5 minutes. And after that, a small discussion, and we collected all the ideas about the project, and we mail it to this artist or whatever who's telling about the project. And he's also trying to get connected and over the border, of course. And then it's Norway's turn. They're doing the same thing, and we sit in Sweden and listen, and we mail response. And today we have about 20 pitches on the internet, and we want to grow this system just to show what's happening in the latitude and see that people meet each other, because the people live apart, quite distance. So this is where we collect all the information on the website, and there you can see what's going on and so like that. Right now, it's not very much going on, but we have an interesting project. Yeah, I will say this project is going for 10 years. In 10 years, we should have gone around the world, hopefully. And we say this every year, so we said this for 3 years now, so we're 10 years above. But we will make it. This is one thing we did. We have a big dinner in Trondheim, in Atelier Ilsvika, which is a big house with many artists and architects and things like that. So we serve dinner, and we have a party with Härnösand on the other coast. Up here is here. So the table is just going further into the computer into Härnösand, and the same, the opposite way. The thing is, we use Skype. Skype is very good, but it's not so good. You know, you can only communicate one way. You can't play together. You can't make music together. We tried that, and it didn't work. I can tell you. And I live in a Skype world, actually, because I have my fiancée in Trondheim, and I live in Härnösand or Trondheim. But we are connected all the time. When I come home from work, I put on the Skype in my kitchen, and she puts on her Skype in the kitchen, and we connect together. And we also have parties, and we dance and do, yeah, that's just what we do, nothing else. No. Anyway, but this is so interesting, because if we didn't have Skype, we couldn't have this long distance relation. I don't think so. And Skype has really changed the world, I think, when it comes to communicate. So this is just one of the experiments we did. Yeah, and this is Härnösand's the artist in Härnösand, and you see, you know about Skype. It's not so very good, but this is an interesting project, though. We have with the Trondheim Symphony Orchestra. They want to work with us and make a music part around the latitude, and make all the musicians and symphony orchestra to write a small part, and we put it together like that. So we are going to start this project now, probably after summer. And I will also tell you about this tag tool. Probably many of you have heard about tag tool. It's actually why I'm talking about this is because we are going to do it by distance. Otherwise, it wouldn't fit in this situation. But it's a projection. You write. You draw and you project, and you do it by. You can see different. So we work with youth, young boys and girls in Norway and in Sweden, and you have your drawing pad, and you can draw, and you have this box, and you can put all the colors and everything. And when you're ready, you put on the bottom, and then you have this play control, and you can animate your image, and you can at the same time paint more. So this is actually a tree. We haven't done this. I just found it on the internet, but we have done similar things. This is outside a tree, and this fish is going away, and this is changing all the way. And you paint as in Photoshop. You have a transparent layer, and you can paint and paint and paint. And when you're ready, you put on the bottom, and yeah, here it is. So this is where we paint. So you have to be 2 persons. And this is very interesting when you work with young kids, because they have to cooperate to do this. You paint, and it's project, and here you have the colors and everything, and when you're ready, you put on the bottom, and you have this console. And you can do many different things. You can put it in loop, you can turn it, and whatever. And you can have like 100 layers. So you can put so and so and so much into this. And what we are, the idea is coming from tag. It's a little bit for graffiti, and but now we are doing it with projections. And this is, you can see how they work with it. Yes, of course. No. This Arduino card. Yes, and this is the box I built though. But it's Riksteatern in Sweden, which is develop a manual how to do this. But everything is open source, everything. So you have everything on the internet. The thing is that Apple now is changing this to iPads, and you can have an app. But it's not as fun, because you don't have to work together. In this situation, you have 2 or 3 persons working together.
So this is not the iPad app?
No. This is before and after, because this is still growing though, but it's not the iPad. No. The interesting with iPad, you can connect all the iPads together in one projector. That's another thing. Anyway, I will show you a short film, because what I'm going to show you, the idea is to have young kids in, for example, Trondheim and in Stockholm, painting together in a big house outside, for example. And they project it together, or they just sit in Sundsvall and paint on a wall in Trondheim. So there are many different levels here you can work with. See if I find hopefully we can do this. This is a good example. If the internet won't work. I was just see. Yeah. So you got the idea. Where am I? Okay. Anyway. Sorry. So what we are trying to do here is to put it together, to put those culture schools together and do a thing interactive over distance. It's 600 kilometers. We are not going to work with fiber because we would like that, but we don't have the resources right now. But in the future, of course. But this is just an example which fiber could really improve. Another thing, I've been doing a pre-study for visualization cluster in the middle of Sweden with a mid Sweden university, and this is very interesting. But this is definitely a kind of connecting fiber, because this is an image from a picture from Norrköping visualization center, which is maybe the most public center we have in Sweden now. We don't have anything in North Sweden in this kind, but we want to create with research and with people who know about this, a big cluster. And to do that, we have to communicate and we have to have good fibers. And this is also something which coming into when you talk about theater and scene, because what they are good at in Sundsvall is just, and actually they are in the head of the world in this research, because they do flat screens, 3D flat screens, which means if you're standing in front of a screen, you could have the text outside the room, and you can go to the side and see it from the side. It's really amazing. And it's because I'm not sure about techniques, I wouldn't go into that. But it's so interesting. I've seen so many interesting examples. So that's why we're trying to build a visualization cluster in the middle of Sweden and see what we can do with this. And also with art and culture, because creative business is very important in developing of this today, which is good. That's why I'm in this pre-study. And this is the camera. They have two different kind of ways of doing this. Is math, of course, and they're creating images from beside of the image. I mean, they take information from here and here, and they just count and they create what's beside of it, even if you don't see it with the camera. And the images is like this if you blow them up, but very interesting. And I hope we can do much about culture and performance with this in the future. That's the goal. This is another interesting project when you come to interaction and presence and things like that, because this is Pantopia. I'm not sure about you from Iceland heard about Pantopia, because the goal with Pantopia was to go to Iceland and connect Iceland also. But it's from Faroe Island, and Faroe Island connected with Denmark. We, in the middle of Sweden and Norway, trying to change the angle into our latitude, and we're working on that. This is what I thought they should do, and they have done some interesting experiments. This is just sketches for an interactive cafe. The idea that you can come to a bar, drink beer with people in Denmark and in Faroe Island, if you are in Faroe Island, or vice versa, like that. And you have screens all over, and you're interactive. They have done some interesting experience here. Let's see if I can get there. In the same way as we have done, but they're trying to make this as a social meeting place or something like that. It's not so easy, because if you go to a cafe, you're not too sure you want to drink beer with a person in another town. You don't. Maybe you're a little shy to things like that. But they're trying, especially from the angle from Faroe Island. They want to communicate, and I'm not sure where this project is right now. 2 years ago, there were many things happened, but I haven't heard from them. And we are trying anyway from our angle from Trondheim to connect with them, and we're going to do it in North Altitude project. I also shortly want to tell you about something I work with right now. It's an art arena in Frösö Park in Östersund. It's an old military airbase, which is now private, and we're going to make an international art arena. And I'm responsible for developing this idea. And this is this is the place I just want to show you. So this is what we have. And here next week, a big hotel, the biggest in Östersund, is ready. And here we have a big arena, 4,300 people. We can do big events. And this is my house. And that's an airplane washer, a military airplane wash. So you can go in and you can wash your plane if you have a plane like that. Now, the interesting with this arena is it's totally waterproof. You can do whatever you want with water. And that's something we're trying to see, what can we do with art and water and things like that. But we also have an ambition to be a kind of hub in digital communication and work with these projects, especially here in Sweden and so on. We see what we can do on that, because we have good fibers, of course, in the military base and things like that. This is 8 minutes from the main square in Östersund, so it's not so far. And you can fly here. This is if you fly to Östersund, you land here, so it's just over. So you are welcome. In September we start with that. We'll start with a big, interesting exhibition from Indonesia with Heri Dono, a very known artist. So this is how it could look. This is how it looks, actually. This is not right. The doors is going that way. That's why you have this part. But I really love this house because it's so surrealistic, and you can't really understand why it's built so strange and awful, but it's interesting. So we are going to do many interesting things. This is what we are working with right now, and of course, fiber optic theater. This is the arena, how it looks, and this is another thing. 1.5 years ago, when we were here in Mariehamn, we did this experiment. I just want to show you an image. Maybe some of you did see this, but this is interesting because how you set the scene, how they communicate between each other. I mean, you sit here and you talk to Stockholm here, Hallunda here. I'm going to show you another example. When you do a play and you're going to communicate, you normally get in a situation that you turn your back to the audience in your theater, in your place, and you talk to Stockholm instead, and you see the artist in Stockholm very present in your theater. But this was more discussions and experiments and things like that. This was very nice. This is what we did together, with Micke was talking about, with Riksteatern and our project in the middle of Sweden called Digital Tools. And we were trying to see how we could connect to stage and see what's happening. So the first thing, as we heard before, that they were rehearsing through Skype, the actors, and it worked much better than they thought it should do from the beginning. So everyone was convinced that was good. But there's one thing: you have to meet each other first. I mean, you have the physical discussion, physical feeling for each other before you go apart. So that's one thing that we conclude after this. And this was how it looked. This is very strange right now, but this is a glass screens with back projections. Also, one thing: if you film a person on stage and you do back projection, you have to change the the image around. Otherwise, you got problems, because if you go to the left, you go to the right in other town and things like that. We fixed that anyway. Well, before I'm going to show you a little film from this performance, but some things which was very interesting. It was that if the actor took one step closer to the camera, he blew up in the other town. And that was magic, but also very strange, because nothing happened in Hallunda. But we were like, wow, shit, this. And there were so many things which really need to think about how could you, in a drama way, deal with those things. And you can't have the same thing. And I mean, it's never the same thing happening and the same feeling in those two places. You can't get that. But which we are talking about sometimes, is like you create a third room, imaginary room in a way. Like you have the same play, totally different experience, two places. But where is this place actually happening? In a kind of a third room. So this is things that is very interesting to see, to experience. So what's happening in Härnösand was that we have a problem with this, so we have to see what's happening in Hallunda. So if you have the stage at the wall, we could see what's happened in Hallunda. For sometimes this is very surrealistic, and we say, aha, now I understand what she says there, and things like that. And that's really interesting. Yeah, okay. I will show you a short film here.
Ja. Bara hennes. Han lär ju leva på västkusten.
Så det är det enda som går bort?
Ja.
Vad har du nu gjort för ont eftersom du kysser mig?
Jo, det ska du få veta. Jag har förstört fasligt med pengar.
Har du haft roligt då?
Mycket.
Mitt höger.
Så lite, ja. Och så ett steg till. Där.
Det funkar inte på grund av att alltså, jag tänker om varje skådespelare så att säga är en skärm, om man tänker sig att varje skådespelare.
Ser vi att det är ett foto, sådär.
Gör ni?
Ja, du backar lite.
Ja.
Ja.
Ska jag backa?
Nej, Patrik. Där.
Så.
Där.
Och vårt mål är att jobba med digitala verktyg i all form för att stimulera kultur och kreativa näringar i Västernorrland.
Och inte minst du. Jag. Som låter min hustru komma när hon behagar.
Ja, men det är väl det minsta. Kanske du skulle ha en inlåst.
Allt!
Det var mycket det. Ett fruntimmer tar endast presenter av sin älskare.
Älskare! Precis! Där sa du ett sant ord. Älskare, ja. Precis, jag har varit din älskare, men aldrig din man.
Prata inte nonsens.
Prata inte med. Jag klarar inte det. Dina ord, De har sönder mig.
Du kommer och kräver alltså. Adolfs.
Okay, this is probably totally surrealistic, and it was in a way also. But maybe you got a little grip on what's happened. There are so many things you can say about this. I'm going to go back to that later. Which was interesting was just the sound. I mean, the presence of the sound was much more important than the projection on the glass. Even if you connect and you build your image and everything, but the sound, which was not an loudspeaker sound, this was so near. It was so interesting. So that's the first thing. The second thing actually is the what you see. And yeah. So this is my idea. What you can do, or what I can do. I'm trying to, but this I'm getting more and more confused. But that's what I wanted to do 2 years ago. But I'm not so sure anymore if we can do it. But in the future. To avoid the situation that the actor is showing the back to the audience, and to do a drama about 3 persons in 3 boxes would be interesting experiments, I think. So we have one. This is how I think we have one stage in Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Of course, on the latitude. I'm not a fundamental thinking about latitude. Of course, we're going to cooperate with everyone who's interested. It's not that, but that's my focus right now. So every stage, you could see 3 boxes, and 1 real person and 2 imaginary persons. And that will be the same in the 3 different places. So you have 3 different audiences also. And you connect all those 3 audiences to each other. So the audience is sitting on like that. And if you film them from side and project them, another side and project them, you're going to have a feeling that you are sitting in an amphitheater, kind of. And as I said before, the quality of the sound is something to make that you can hear the person sitting beside you. Maybe it's 500 kilometers, but you can hear him turning on a chair or something like that. And this is magic. This is really interesting. And also, if the play is something to interact with the public, we're coming up to another level. What is happening if the actor starting to interact with the audience in 1 place or 3 places? So this is maybe a model which it could look in a imaginary, or maybe this 3rd room or something like that. And I did this yesterday. I was more thinking about quant physics, like to be in different places and imaginary places and things like that. So it's not so easy. But if you do it different in every stage, so you put the boxes different, you get a totally different experience also. I tried in the first step, I tried to make the same experience in every stage. But if you do like that, you have 3 different stages and the same play. So, what did we learn? I mean, when we did the experiments. Now, I'm just shortly going to say the experience and what the audience told us. As I said, the sound is a so big experience. You couldn't believe it was so good. I was amazed. I was really thrilled about that. And also the problem, not the problem, but the obstacle, how really you could make the drama and dramaturgic way to make it work. because you're actually doing it in two places which is totally different. And that's mostly, I would say that's very interesting, not the problem though. And connecting the audience is something who make it to another level. And as I said, what happened if you started to interact also with the audience? Then you get in a totally new level. And as I said, to avoid the actor to play with the back to the audience, which is not hard, but you can solve that. Yeah, this is a present with the sound, and of course have a technical plan is very important, and I think that's something that this whole workshop is looking at. So we deal with the same program, the same format and things like that. Anyway, there are so many new opportunities here. And sometimes you can hear from actors' point of view, it's like we want to have more, we have to smell each other, we have to be closer to each other when we are playing. And that's the big obstacle. How could we make that feeling better? The tactile feeling or something like that. When we did our dinner in Trondheim and in Härnösand, we try to eat the same food and drink the same wine. That's anyway something. Yeah, of course you have to write the script, the play from this format, but also, I mean, you have to deal with it. You have to try to develop it in your way, of course. So that's what I was going to tell you actually. This was my experience about working with fiber optic. So now, Morten, this is what we are thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, you can explain what this is, or.
Thank you, Andreas.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.